welcome to another episode of Bachpan Manao. Play is fun, play is joy, play is happiness. But play is far more than simple amusement. Play is what unlocks growth and learning in the critical first 3,000 days of a child's life, when their brain develops faster than at any other time. When children learn by playing, it builds a strong foundation for all-round development that will help them thrive. Play naturally prepares children for academic and lifelong learning. Whether it is building blocks or make-believe games, hide and seek, solving puzzles or riding a cycle, children naturally develop a rich tapestry of essential skills, from problem solving and creativity to negotiation, language development and motor skills. It is through play that children build intrinsic motivation, curiosity, resilience, and the foundational skills that they need to thrive in a structured learning environment. To see how this happens, we spent time with a lot of children, observing them at play, listening to them, engage and interact. And what emerged was some very captivating conversations, best friends, disagreements, empathy, conflict resolution, imagination, chaos and a whole lot of masti. How will it prepare them for a lifetime of learning? To explain it to us, joining us on this episode of Bachpan Manao are Richa Shukla, CEO, Dost Education, and Mugdha Kalra, co-founder, Not That Different, disability inclusion, trainer, autism activist, and mother to a neurodiverse son. Richa and Mugdha, very warm welcome to you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll learn a lot from both of you when we see children play.
Yeah.
We're going to play some videos from our shoots with the children as watched their playing and engaging unfold. Have a look at the video. The first video is from an Anganwadi in Taudu in Haryana. So these children are playing with great attention and focus. No doubt, while playing gitti, there's also some counting going on, a precursor to numeracy. You look at the children, and Richa, when you look at that video, tell us what you see.
I think this video really reminds me of my childhood. I used to play this game so much. And when you talk of play, I think it may look like a very simple activity going on, but it's a very complex play going on there. And I think when the children are actually playing with those gitties, as you mentioned, there is so much of hand-eye coordination that is going on. There is so much of pre-numeracy skill that are getting developed for children. They are counting, and more importantly, a lot of problem solving and critical thinking, because they know they are planning how much force they will apply in throwing the gitties so they don't get scattered all over, because they have to pick them up in one go later on. I think there's also going to be a lot of turn taking and planning in that sense. So it's the
social skills
it's a
too.
social skill
how do you
too.
deal with
How
people?
do you deal with that? And I think with these, this is a very, very great example of how children are building hand-eye coordination and also doing a lot of critical thinking.
Absolutely, and that's what we're trying to reiterate through these episodes of Bachpan Manao, that play is not just play. There's so much children are learning when they're doing this, and when we think they're just playing. So we'll show you a second video. In our second video, we see another aspect of play, a cross-learning domain. So let's have a look at this video. You see that there is some spatial learning or spatial reasoning happening here. Spatial reasoning or understanding and visualizing objects and shapes in space is learned through block play, puzzles, even stacking cups, like in this video. So Mugdha, would you like to comment on this video? What are children actually learning here?
I think one of the things that strikes me with this video is how parents look at play, and if I can get the parents' lens into this, one of the things that we see very often is that stacking is also a red flag for autism. So if you allow your child to play, and if you notice a certain pattern of playing, you will also get the red flags for a special needs or a neurodiverse child, because stacking is the first thing they do even with regular things. So you know, if there is a car, they may not play in the way other children play with the car. They may stack those cars or stack those boxes. So when they are playing, you also get a hang of how their brains are working, and perhaps it's also the early sign of finding out if your child is a little different and needs different way of learning and different way of involving play.
So there's another example from a center in Bangalore, Mugdha. We'll play that video, and as we observe learning through these clips, just have a look at this. This is from a center in Bangalore, and we can see children play here. They've not posed for us, they're just playing, and we were just watching them while we shot, and you can see how they are playing. So when you look at this, what do you think is going on in the child's mind, Mugdha?
Well, in this particular video, you see neurodiversity and neurotypicality play out. Perhaps they may not play with each other, but they play around each other. And play therapy then becomes very important when a proper play therapist or a teacher who believes in play therapy brings them all together and says, all right, we're going to play together, take turns. You know, you are pushing the car on this beam. Maybe now this fellow will do that. Get me the green car, get me the blue car. You know, the understanding of colors, understanding of shapes also comes through the play then. So play becomes a very important aspect also for teaching then. For example, I'll tell you a simple incident that happened. Our children have sensory issues. They will not let anybody put anything in their mouths. Some of them have oromotor issues. That's the reason why a lot of them, because of their sensory issues, will not even go to the barber's shop to get their hair cut. But when you do pretend play at home, that prepares them for that.
So one of the things that play teaches children is to deal with less than ideal situations and try to solve the problems that these situations bring. So let's look at this video. These girls in a play school in the NCR came up against an issue, and this is what they did.
Give all the pieces. Get those. Okay, take all of these. Guard these. Look at these. Yeah. No. Take all of these. Take these. Thank you. Keep it with yourself. I'm keeping it with me so that nobody can ever. Can I also come? Now where will we build? Can I be the king? Wait.
So Richa, Mugdha, negotiation skills coming to play here. Leadership, management,
Absolutely.
your comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, all of the 21st century skills that we talk about today, which actually prepare children for a life tomorrow and make them resilient, we saw them in practice just now happening. There's a lot of communication, a lot of negotiation, a lot of conflict resolution without the presence of an adult, and how they were able to negotiate their way is so important. And that happens when children are just free in themselves, playing with each other and trying to really, they'll have problems, but they also arrive at solutions themselves.
If you just let them be, if adults don't interfere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so they learn those skills.
Yeah, and a lot of places I see that it's also the foundation of moral reasoning. and a sense of fairness and empathy of where we need to stand up for ourselves or for my friend, and how and what that sense of fairness is, and this is my space, it belongs to me, or somebody is not being nice to the other child. So I think those are things that we saw in practice here in this clip, and it's such a happy place to be in when you see children playing, because they are playing with their whole self. And I think joy is a very big aspect of play and learning. If joy is happening, if engagement is happening, children are learning.
Let's head back to the Anganwadi in Thadu for our next video. Where we will see another kind of a problem and the skills that come into play. So we see another problem here. Look at this little boy on a tricycle, and he gets into a problem because he encounters a pothole, which is so common in Delhi and Bombay roads. But he tries to figure out what to do with it. Mugdha, let me ask you, what does it take to see holistic growth? How do you see domains of learning emerge through these videos?
You know, a lot of times we just need to introduce our children to situations in a play form. And that is when they learn problem solving on their own. So for example, in this particular video, there's a natural block, but the child is finding a way to negotiate in that situation and finding a way out. So, we create scenarios within play where the child is going to struggle, and then he looks around, and then the therapist or the person playing with them will say, help, help. And then the child learns to say, help.
So, Richa, what does it really mean to facilitate play and growth, both as far as Anganwadi worker, preschool teacher, and as a parent?
Yeah, I think that's a very important and very critical aspect of what play is and how play facilitators are trained. And I think one fundamental thing of play for its true essence to come out is that it needs to be child-led. You're just guiding, you're just facilitating, but you have to let the child take the lead to really see how the child needs to navigate through a certain play, whether it's just free play environment or a structured play or a games with rules. You'll have to let the child come up with their problems and solutions to navigate through those situations. I think a lot of times what we are actually doing is we are using a lot of, we are doing a lot of play-based learning. But I think the key ingredients of play and what makes play joyful for children goes missing from these trainings, because then it becomes a whole moving away from textbook but doing activities in a very regimented way. But I think what play includes is a lot of joy. It's a lot of being silly.
Let them be and
let
learn
them
from
be.
them, right? Rather than telling them what to do and what not to do, and then you just complicate their world. But there's also a connection between playful discovery and scientific thinking. Like, we'll play that video from Bangalore again, and if both of you want to comment on this, as we play the clip, tell us what you see in that video from Bangalore when children are using the little cars on the treadmill, and what kind of development do you see there? What kind of personality trait do you see? So here is
our kids are very keen on seeing anything that moves. So the beauty is how they can think of playing in a very different way.
They put the car on the treadmill. The treadmill is moving, very smart. The wheels are moving, you're not moving the car. So, like a great scientific discovery that you figured out.
That's exactly what's happening. There's a lot of reasoning and thinking and experimentation. There's a lot of trial and error, cause and effect that's happening here. Where should I put the car? What speed will it take? If the treadmill is moving at a certain speed, where should I actually put my car to really have it reach
so they
the
discover
end
on their own. There's a lot of scientific discovery that is made here. And Mugdha, you're the mother of a neurodiverse child, and how play is very important. I've been reading, and lots of people have heard you talk about it, that play is a very important tool in their development. And how has it helped your son?
I'll tell you in a lot of ways. So when they are younger, play helps in neuroplasticity. Repetitive play will tell you how your brain can actually understand a concept which perhaps otherwise you're finding difficult to understand. sensory issues. So for instance, if a child is very sensitive to certain touches, strong lights, because that's what happened in sensory disorders.
Yeah.
So we are able to see that how can we introduce play to help them get over those sensory issues. The other thing which makes the base of their lives with play therapy is how they're going to be in future. You know, a lot of times we go to the doctors and the doctor says, you must have a hobby. You know, you are taking a lot of stress. What do you do in your free time? And because these children have never had free time, suddenly they're asking the doctor, aap bata do koi hobby.
Yeah.
Right? So when you are introducing your children to play in various ways, you are giving them something that will last with them for the rest of their life. How
Yeah.
to just have a good time
together.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Doing
yeah.
the
And it
outdoorsy things.
helps you
right?
also let go of inhibitions and
Yeah,
also for children to
absolutely.
connect and for adults to connect. We'll just take a quick break and we'll be back for some more discussion on this. Welcome back. We are talking today about how play naturally prepares our children for lifelong learning. Most of that learning takes place alongside other children, and so social skills, self-regulation, collaboration, negotiation all become important skills to learn. These are learned naturally in any situation where multiple children are playing together. Here are some that we saw.
Oh, yeah. Then we put this. Yeah. Oh! Look! Wow! अच्छा तो मैं तुम्हारा क्रश कर दूं हमारा ले रहा है मैं तुम्हारा क्रश कर दूं क्रश is ours तो मेरा क्यों लिया है हमारा okay you take it चलो मेरा इनफ हो गया मैं तोड़ दूंगा ये लो वो दोनों मेरे हैं वो दोनों हम यूज कर रहे थे जब तक अगर दोगे नहीं मैं पीछे रहूंगा नहीं तो ये दो मेरे को वापस नहीं ठीक है ये लो ये दो ट्रायंगल
Richa, when you look at these videos, what kind of skills do we see here developing?
Yeah, I think a very fun place to be in. There's a lot of parallel play, but also a lot of collaborative play going on. In group settings, you often see that children want to do a lot of things themselves, but they also want to share. So I think cognitive flexibility happens when children are playing, but also, like you said, a lot of leadership communication skills where they are adapting to newer situations, but also coming out to express themselves more freely.
Yeah. The other video that I had talked about earlier, we can play that now, where we see a lot of pretend games, you know, like all of us have played at some point in our life, and that's probably one of the favorite games most of us have had, where we role play and we become doctors and we become teachers. So look at this video where children are actually doing that role play and have figured out imaginary games, and one apparently is playing the role of a teacher, someone is playing the role of a doctor. So these kind of things that we can see here. Look at that one, writing something on the board.
So I made up this question. I need chalk. Why? I need chalk. Just give it. Yes. Okay. I'm going to have me, you. Okay. Me. First you, then me. Okay. So what's the move side of the what? The answer is 10. Stop. Why are you irritating Sharanya?
Richa, what do these interactions actually tell you? If you can just take us through the video, and how do you sum it up? You know, as caregivers, how do we assure that whatever his child is doing, you know, is okay also for the other children, and what do they learn from each other when you see such games happening?
Yeah, I think pretend play, symbolic play is really very important for children. This is where there's a lot of emotional development is happening. This is where a lot of empathy is building. But there's also a lot of expression that is happening of what they are absorbing from their immediate environment and what they are absorbing.
Here
I
they're
think
playing the doctor game.
doctor, yes. Here they are playing the doctor game. And you can actually see how much joy there is when they're actually leading the game and doing
Yeah.
things themselves.
Yeah,
but-
of course.
Yeah.
So, Mukta, what ideas have you seen work to create safe learning spaces, and what should parents really know?
When we were watching that video where the child is doing pretend play, now we have used pretend play a lot for social situations. For example, going to the dentist, how to make your own meal to enhance independent skills, you know, you have those sets. How do you take care of yourself? How do you groom yourself? Now, these are things that come a little late for our children, and we have to do a lot of repetition for it to become a way of life for them. So neuroplasticity, as we call it, is repetitive learning ways, and play offers us that. So, and instead of doing tabletop learning, that you know you're showing on, you're showing with books, or you're showing with videos that this is how a doctor is, or this is how you need to groom yourself, or this is how food is cooked. You give them things like these, and they are happier learning. To discover what the other person may be feeling is also, it also comes through pretend.
Perspective taking is so important,
Yeah.
even for like divergent kids, but also neurotypical kids.
Play creates the natural architecture for learning readiness. This needs two things to happen. We need to make the child's environment play-friendly space with simple everyday things. And of course, we need to create the time for play. For that, head over to our website, ndtv.com/Bachpan Manao, to take the pledge of less screen, more play. It is in every child's nature to play and to explore. So the next time they spend their time playing, you can be assured they are actually engaging with a whole lot of learning and having fun while doing it. Thanks for watching.
Bachpan Manao!